Ah, friends, is there anything as beautiful as a 55 series tractor? I don't know. I think they were some of the prettiest ones ever made. And I have a 17, a 16, a 17, an 18, and a 19. And so I need 2 more to fill out my set. So let's see what we can do about that right after this. Welcome back, friends. If you haven't seen my videos before, Ross the Oliver Man. The first 55 series tractor that I ever had was the 1655 that I grew up on. We mowed hay with it. It's sitting over there, and I always loved that tractor. It was great, handy, you know, hydraulic shift. That's awesome. Then we ended up with the 1855, which was a basket case. I always wanted a bigger tractor, a bigger 55 series Oliver. And so I bought that 1855. It's way over there, hooked to the planter still. And went all through it, rebuilt the motor, everything. And it was awesome. It's done awesome all the time. I like it. Turbo, fun. Well, then this came along, 1755. Actually, I guess I should say the 1955 came along first. However, it's not running. You've seen it before. It's waiting in line patiently. I bought it from a guy who I saw it sitting at a repair shop, and I asked about it, and the guy didn't want to sell it. And then eventually, as he got, I guess his health kind of went downhill a little bit, the people called and said, if you want to buy it, go get it. So bought it, brought it here, looked at it. The motor is in terrible shape, so it kind of got put on the back burner. Hopefully we can get working on it one of these days. Then this feller came along, also not running. This 1755 was on an auction a little bit down south of here. It's also the same auction where Dad bought his 5209 New Idea disc vine. I bought a tractor and he bought that, and my brother-in-law hauled them home on the same trailer. And this tractor was non-running. It had a cab on it, which I didn't really care for. Took that off. Actually took the fenders off the 1955 because once I started polishing on this tractor, original paint, friends. This tractor's 100% pretty well. I shouldn't say 100%. I did redo some of the white on stuff. The back wheels are original. You saw that last year when we used the Rust-Oleum gel and that. But very nice original tractor. This is becoming one of my favorites just because it's so snappy. It has a lot of power for what it is, and it I don't know, it's just a handy size. And I've really enjoyed this one too, you know. Put the power beyond on this and the 1855 so I could run those planter hydraulics without any trouble. And whatever, this tractor though, it's done everything I've ever asked of it, and it's just been super handy. So what I need for my set is a 1555 and a 2255. And I have looked high and low, and it just seems like you can never find a good deal on any of them. A 1555 especially, you know, you see a lot of them, they want 10 grand, and I think that's a little much for a 1555, but you know, one of these days I guess I'll run across something like that. But I told you a while back that I just bought something that was the most expensive thing I ever bought, and I just went and got it. So what say we go take a look at it? Now friends, you've seen this before. You've seen this before on my channel, but now it belongs to me. So let's have a look at it. A 2255 front wheel assist with a cab. A very beautiful original tractor. 2,700 hours on it, you know. So here it is. It's going to live here now. And I will tell you more of the story about it here. I hope we can, I may have to change batteries because you're down to 17%, but let's just take a little slow walk around it here first and let you take it all in. And then I'll tell you more about how this came to be. It's actually kind of dusty. We need to wash it off. I'm thinking about taking it to the fair, so yeah. 2255 front wheel assist. As previously stated, you have seen this on my channel several times before. This tractor was actually, it belonged to the guy that owns this 1850 that we worked on. He also has a 77 wide front and a that 1955 front wheel assist that we just had a video on, and a little Massey Ferguson and whatever. So how this began, and I should probably, can I stand in the shade and talk? Or is that going to be too distracting for you? All right, so how did the 2255 come to live down in this area? Well, it actually was sold new at Pullman Hardware in Letts, Indiana. If you've ever heard of that, I've been by there many times. Actually, the current owner, he came and talked to me at the fair one year and we visited. He watches the videos. I need to go up there and visit them. Haven't made it yet, but you know, pretty cool. He watches it. They were an Oliver dealer and they sold tractors, including this one. I guess if I'm talking about it, I can just show you. But still has the stickers on both sides. So my friend who owned this just before me, he had been on the quest. He wanted to own a turbo 55 series tractor. He liked a tractor with a turbo and he wanted a front wheel assist. And so for a while there, he and I went all over looking at different tractors. We looked at 1855s, 1955s in various conditions. We test drove. You know, I'd drive it, I'd look it over, he'd drive it, and then on the drive home, I'd tell him what I thought it needed or whatever. And so we did that for a good while, and he just couldn't find one that really kind of made him excited. And, you know, so that's a lot of money. When you're spending this much money on one, it's got to be something you're really excited about. So couldn't really find anything. Well, then all at once somebody told him about this one. Said there's this original 2255 and it's so nice and you need it. So he went up there and looked at it. I wasn't with him and he just bought it. He told the guy, I'll take it. Because he said, I thought, well, I wanted a front wheel assist tractor to play with. And he said this one was too nice, and if I didn't take it then, it wasn't going to be there when I came back. So he bought it. He had it trucked down here. And there it was. And then he had me come over and do some stuff to it. We went over time. Well, first thing he did was he had all new tires put on it. Firestone radials all the way around. So it's got all new tires on it. Then I went through it looking for things wrong. You know, he said, look at it. If you see something that's wrong, fix it. And do that. So that's what we did. So over the years, I have basically went through everything that needed in this tractor. Hoses that needed replaced, put a cab kit in it. All the fluids have been changed. I mean, it's field ready basically. What else did I do? I put a thermostat in it. I can't even remember, friends. It's been so many years and I've done so much stuff to so many. But I polished on it a little bit, and then he's also hired other people to do cosmetic work trying to get it. But now we've got that Rust-Oleum gel, so I think I can get even more of this out of it. I can make it look even better, is what I'm saying. But anyway, the last thing I think I did to it majorly was air conditioning. And I think I've showed you that before. We'll look at it more because it's not working. That's one thing that didn't pan out. It was working and I thought it was doing great. And one time before the fair one year, or it was, I don't know, it was about fair time one year, and I think he wanted to take it on a tractor drive, and he said something's not right with this air conditioning. So I went over and messed with it, and the compressor blew up. So I was going to have to warranty that compressor, I felt like, because I was the one who put it on there, and just never got around to doing it. And now that's fine, because now I bought the tractor, so now it's my problem anyway. So one of these days we're going to order a compressor, hopefully better quality than the one that they sold me for that. And then I also think, I can't remember if I think I did have air conditioning lines made, but I am not confident in the air conditioning lines. Up in here somewhere, there are like service disconnects that they put on here with the idea that if you had to take the cab off or whatever, you could disconnect those and you wouldn't lose the Freon, and then you'd put it back in, and I'm thinking those messed up. Those are brand new. I think I put them on new, but I'm not convinced that they weren't part of the problem, and it created too much pressure and it blew. But we got to figure that out. That's a problem for another day. And like I said, it was going to be my problem anyway, so here it is. Now it's my problem, but it's my tractor, so that's great. So anywho's, I guess back to my story of how this day came to be. He had this tractor for maybe a year or two, but he was still looking. He said, I still want a turbo Oliver. He said, I like the sound of those, and he wanted one that was open station. You know, he's got that big wagon, if you've seen in those videos, where he like pulls his family around, and that's what they do. They have like hay rides, but it's a nice hayride wagon with rails all the way around and benches made so that it's super safe. It's not just an old hay wagon type affair, you know. So we looked and looked and looked and looked, and he finally found, up in Wisconsin, a restored 1955, which you've seen. And so he bought that one. And then the same type of story, I think he put new tires all the way around because he wanted these certain type of tires, and whatever. I did a few piddly things to that one, but basically it was a restored tractor. I worked on the lighting on it, because it, like I said, for that parade wagon thing, put a relay in to help take some of the load off the switch and different things. But basically it was ready to go. We changed all the fluids in it just so he knew that it was done. And so the 1955 was there then with this, and he was using the 1955 all the time, playing with it and different stuff. And this one ended up just sitting. As a matter of fact, I think it maybe has sat for 2 years. I don't know if he's moved. He might have moved it a little bit, but basically it never did anything. It just sat since he got that other one. And so he always said, I probably will sell that at some point. And he said, I'll let you know. He said, you'll be the first one to know if I decide to sell it. Well, he retired from his job in town, and he ended up starting to help another farmer around this area, a good sized farmer, and he's doing just whatever maintenance or stuff, like he'll mow, you know, take a tractor and a bush hog out and mow ditches or whatever, go get something started, move it around, you know, jumper cables, something, whatever. Just, he said he does all kinds of different little handyman tasks or whatever, and he can set his hours or whatever. He does, basically does whatever he wants because he's retired, but it's a job to do whatever. So he had this tractor sitting in his building there. All right, friends, battery quit like I predicted it would, so yeah. So anyway, he starts working for this farmer, and I guess they get to talking, and the guy says, I'd like to rent your building to store equipment in. And so he said, well, we can probably do that. So they started cleaning out stuff and, you know, gonna move. And he had also had, I don't know if you saw that in different times, I'm sure you did when we worked over there, but he had a dog basically he had a dog farm at his house. He would raise high-end dogs and whatever. Well, they gave that up, and so his building at home was sitting basically empty, but it had pins and stuff in it. So he tore all those out so he had more room in that building, and he moved all his tractors over there except this one. Then he came and asked me, he said, hey, I'm going to sell that tractor. He said, if you want it, you got first chance. He said, otherwise I will probably put it on auction this fall. And I said, well, don't do that. I said, I want it. So we worked out an agreement, and you know, because basically who's got this much cash lying around? Not all the time, but we worked out a deal, and that's, I think, good for everybody. You know, he wants to see the tractor around this area still and being used, and that's what it will be. And then I had the chance to buy something that I probably wouldn't normally be able to buy. So there we go. Basically what it's going to amount to when this deal's all done is all of the repairs I've done for him over the years, I'm giving him his money back. So that's just how that goes. But it's nice because it's basically ready to go. There's not a lot we have to do to it. And as I have discovered in my travels, it's always good to have a second tractor of any given size. And as I learned, it's actually better to have a third and fourth one, because sometimes they'll all be broke down. So basically what this would do, this would be like another backup or another tractor of the same size as like the 9650. The only difference is this one has no electronics, so you don't have to worry about that. So I now have 2 articulated 4-wheel drives, and then I have 2 front wheel assist 150 horse tractors or so. The 2255 was originally supposed to be like 130 maybe horsepower, and then later on I think they did finally list it at like 140 something, basically 150 horsepower tractor. The first ones had a 3150 V8, which was kind of the same but not quite. It had a different injection pump and was a little different. Later on they went with the 3208, which is the same motor that they used in loads of things, friends. New Holland combines had them. The white tractor, articulated tractors had them. These had them. There were New Holland choppers had them. There were so many things that used that motor. And I personally think it's a pretty good motor as long as you understand its limits. One thing I like about it is, at least the ones I have, if they roll over half a turn, they're running. They will start in the cold, never plugged in. They're good motors for that. Their limitation is the same limitation that you would have with any V8 engine, which is that if you let the RPMs fall off, it falls flat on its face. It makes the most power if it's screaming, and then it's got all kinds of power. But if you let it lug down too much, these do not lug down. But that is the inherent difference between a V8 and a 6-cylinder engine. 6-cylinder engines have a lot of lugging power, and they will put out a lot of power in lower RPM ranges, and they kind of taper off as it gets wide open, whereas this puts out its best range when it's running full speed. So, you know, it's the same motor that's in the 4180 and the 4150, so that's just the way it is. But I'll tell you something in this. If you've never drove a 2255, this motor in this tractor, it's a horse. Like you feel like you got power in this. I mean, you jam the throttle forward and it's gonna jump. It feels like you got something. So it'll be fun to take it out in the field. I tried to get him to take it out in the field. I said, why don't you bring it over and hook it to my Landau and make a few laps or something? Well, he didn't really want to get it dirty and whatever. I don't blame him. So I have never had this one in the field, but we're going to now, because that's what it's for. I didn't buy it just to look at it. I bought it to play with it, and that's what it's going to do. It's going to work. So it has to earn its living, because we spent a lot of money on it. So I think that it is definitely, I don't regret it. It makes me kind of nervous to spend that much on one thing, but it's still less than I would spend if you went to an auction and bought one. And that's the real deal here. He made sure that I could get it, and I think that he could have probably made more money if he'd have taken it to the auction. You never know that, but an original tractor like this, I think would bring a lot. And then I guess that's also the bonus, as long as it stays in decent shape, you know, and I don't like park it out in the woods and let trees fall on it. It should always pretty well hold its value close to what it is. And you know, if you ever got into a terrible emergency situation, you could sell it and get your money back, you know. So that's the thing. Even though it's a lot of money when you buy something like this, it's okay as long as you know that it's not going to just depreciate to nothing, you know. And I don't think this one will. It's very, I don't know the guys who had it first, but it was a one owner tractor when this guy that I know bought it. And I don't know, he said that those guys had said that they pulled like a landau with it for a little bit, and then basically it just sat in the shed. And I mean, it shows that it was taken care of to last in this condition. I don't think that they necessarily, you know, they didn't cover it up with blankets and wax it. It was just they kept it in the shed and took care of it, and it shows. Over the time of him having it, like I said, I've done just little things here and there. One year we had to replace these hoses. They blew for no reason, just age. I have the PTO shield and the 540 PTO, which we'll probably put back in it. He put this on because he wanted to try to run his batwing bush hog with it, and then he thought it was getting too dirty doing that job, so he didn't do it more than once. But I've got the PTO shield and that shaft. I've also got a hammer strap for the drawbar, and so that's kind of cool. I don't know what else to say, friends. It's got a few little drips here and there, but all of these 55 series tractors do with all this hydraulic stuff. And probably a lot of that is due to the fact that this has been sitting, you know. It's been sitting and it's not been used, and it needs to be taken out and used. Stuff just, it seems like when it sits it just goes to pieces, and that we don't want that. So we're going to take it out and play with it and do things. And like I said, there may be more things that I find as we go that we want to fix or make better. Just looking at it now real quick, it's still got the original style hose into the priority valve there, and I may get the kind where you can change it to the JIC adapter and go. I've had to replace this hose before on it. Just, I don't know that we'll do that right away, but it may be something that we do as we start using it and see how it acts and different things. One thing I would like to do to it cosmetically, and I always wanted to do and never got him talked into it, was I'm going to get the stainless exhaust shields like I put on those other ones and put them on here, because I think that makes them look a lot prettier. These are actually the factory kind, the expanded metal. That's also what the 4180, 4150 would have had. I don't like those as well. This side is actually missing. That's why I kind of tried to talk him into doing that. I might actually have another one, because I think there was one on the 4150, but I'm gonna get those other ones because they're a lot more pleasing to the eye, you know. We got to look, and the tractor wouldn't start. We had to jump it, and that was kind of unfortunate. But these batteries, we were trying to figure out if we put them in, and I don't think we did. Now he thought we did, because he said, oh, they're 2024, but they're not. I can see right now they're 2014 batteries, so we did not put these in. So I don't feel as bad about that now, because it wasn't that long ago that he's had this. I don't think he's had it, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 years at the most. Maybe it's been longer, but it doesn't, I just can't believe it would be 10 years ago. We wouldn't have put in 2014 batteries, I don't think. But either way, when we start using it, it'll come around. Another thing I know. All right, friends, the camera, the SD card was full, so it cut me off again. So I took the opportunity and did some editing and stuff. But as I was saying, the only thing that we're going to really have to dive into on this is that the whole air conditioning system and that. And I noticed on the way over here, the blower's not working now. So I don't know what's up with that, because it always did work. So we're going to have to, I pulled the fuse out. I thought it looked okay, but we'll try to put a different one in and see if that takes care of it. Otherwise, maybe we need to pull the top down and make sure a mouse didn't get in there or something. The dome light wasn't working either, but the windshield wiper is. So that tells me that the cab is getting some power, you know. But yeah. So now the question is, do we put this here? I think we do. Got the original one and we got mine on it now. And that's how she goes. I'm gonna try to, I gotta see how much I got on hand, but I think a little Rust-Oleum gel on some of the white stuff, and then clean it up a little bit more. You know, I didn't start using that Rust-Oleum gel when he first got this tractor. That's kind of a more recent event. So I think I might be able to get a little bit more of that out of there and whatever. This tractor actually had, when he bought it, it also had the base weight for suitcase weights bolted to this, and I told him, I said, that doesn't belong on there. So I took it off, and then I said, if you want to sell it, I'll buy it. And that's what I did. And that bracket's on the 1955. So yeah, I think about the only thing left to do is take her for a drive, so you can see that. Maybe you already saw the clip of me driving it down the road to bring it over here, but I like it. It definitely, the 3208 in this shorter tractor makes it really feel like it's a powerhouse, you know, compared to like the articulated ones. It feels like it's got a lot. So yeah, I think though, one more thing to do whilst we're doing this, I brought out another set of these. I never put any on my little cock shed, I don't think, and it's out here. So let's make that happen real quick. But I don't know where I want to. Oh my goodness, are you serious? A bird built a nest on this in just like a couple days. That's crap. I don't know where we're going to put this on this one, because we got a conundrum, friends. On the other ones I put it here, but there's a diesel sticker there. So do we want to put it up here? I guess we'll put it up there. I want to try some flits on this one too before we take it to the fair. It's got a little bit of stuff on it where another guy's tried to paint it a little bit, so that's going to make a difference. I want to move it here in a minute and I'll show you why. But anyway, we're going to take the 2255 for a drive, so let's do that. All right, horse. One thing about this is you got to make sure the cab door is closed. It will hit the tire, and that would be sad. I don't know if you've ever seen the inside of this one or not, but very nice, original, everything. I did put a cab kit in it way back when, and so yeah, I mean, it's very nice. We want to get the air conditioner working because we don't want dust to get in here. About out of fuel, so I wonder if we ought to put a little in or just trust it to go up and down the road one time. Let's just trust it. Famous last words, remember that when it dies. wipers are really flashing or not. We need to do a little work to the knobs. They don't tighten down right. They're the same knobs they used in like the 4150 and the 4180. And I've got some extras, I believe, so we should be good. Now, of course, there's a car coming right when I want to play. That figures. And they're driving slow, because why not? Because everything is so tight on it, because it's still basically a new tractor. I mean, it's amazing how like the clutch pedal is, there's no wear in it at all. The brakes are super sensitive because they're like new, you know. And the thing's got enough power, you practically don't have to shift it into I guess we're going off-road. It won't make the turn like the two-wheel drive ones up here. This turn or not. If we go all the way to the edges, maybe. Yeah. There is not much clearance there, friends, like between the steps and whatever. If you didn't have the spacers in the front, I don't know. I think you'd probably hit some stuff. Whoa there, horse. Whoa. Let's close the windows so we don't forget to do that. That one works, I think, pretty well correctly. These knobs are not, it's that way on the four-wheel drives too. They're kind of finicky. Sleep. Let's turn the lights off so we don't run the battery dead. We do need to, I discovered, and I can't believe it, but I never put a battery cutoff on this one. And I've done that to most every other one of his tractors, so I don't know why. I'm actually wider than the doorway, so I have to spin move to get in and out of here. There we go, friends. Beautiful. So let's wrap this video up here. The sun's probably right in our eyes, but is it going to work like I thought? The 3 most expensive things that I've bought ever are right here, tractor wise, and they're not in order of how much I spent. They're in order of age. But the 9650 did hold the record until this came along. Actually, yeah, the 9650 still held the record. This was second place, but that one is first place now. So yeah, I gave more for that than I gave for these other 2 put together, but that's how it is. If you want one, they ain't making more, so you got to take what you get, friends. But I'm happy. My wallet is empty, but my heart is full. So yeah, let's just leave it there. But we will see more of this. There's some things I want to try to clean it up a little, like I said, change the power takeoff back, put the other shield on and stuff, get it ready. But I don't really want to do anything with it before the fair, just because I don't want to get it dirty and then have to start from square one. And so basically, your part of this is you need to watch this video like 35,000 times so that I can help pay for this. So if you all do that, then it'll be fine, but not really. It'll be fine anyway. It's just I have a hard time wrapping my mind around what some of this stuff costs, but I still got it cheaper than if it had went to an auction. I think it would bring a lot more. So yeah, my front wheel assist tractor collection has grown by 2 sizes this year. You know, I only had one, and it was only like 30 years old, and now I've got one that's 50 years old and one that's 60 years old probably. So I don't know, I guess they're very similar in age. This one's a 74, if I didn't say that, and I don't know if I ever looked up what year that one was. Did I? 69. So that was the beginning of the 55 series, because by this time they would have changed to the 65 series of Fiats. So sure thing. But I'm thrilled to have that. I never thought that I'd own one. I wanted a 2-wheel drive one for years and never found one that was in my price range, and I never even considered a front wheel assist one because I thought that'd never happen. But thanks to the magic of YouTube, here it is. So yes, and thank you to my friend who sold it to me, because like I said, he probably could have made a lot more money if he was only concerned about money, and he really wanted it to go to me, so we made it work. But as always, friends, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.